Today is 17th of November 2013. So, this evening I shall continue to discuss about it's a continuations of the last Dhamma talk. So in one of the chapters in the Visuddhimagga, where it mentions about removal of false views, abolitions of conceit or mana, and ending of attachments. So in one of the paragraphs of that chapter, say that there is no removal of false view in one who takes it task. I see with insights, my insights. There is removal of false view in one who takes it task. Only formations, see formation with insight, or comprehends and realize them. There is no abolition of conceit or mana, or in one who takes it task. I see thoroughly with insight, or I see wealth with insights. There is abolition of conceit in one who takes it task. Only formations see formation with insight, or comprehend and realize them. There is no ending of attachment, or in one who is pleased with insight, or thus unable to see with insights. There is ending of attachment in one who takes it task. Only formations see formation with insight, or comprehend and realize them. At that moment of realizing the insight knowledge, there is no self who is realizing that knowledge. If there is a self who realizes the insight knowledge, then conceit can arise, or mana. So sometimes you may have sins, or even meditators, some meditators may have mana, or if they attain or some stages of insight knowledge. So when one attains some insight knowledge, or have gained some unusual experiences, or one may attach to it, or feel very pleased with it, very satisfied with it. So if one realizes insight knowledge with these defilements, one may not have may not have realizing the inside knowledge truly. Do you remember in the last talk where there was a simile of the horse carts? When meditators have attained the purification of mind, in other words, the mind is free from all 5 kinds of mental hindrances and defilements. Then the meditators would have attained purification of mind. Then meditators would realize the specific characteristics of the mental and physical phenomena. For example, meditators could only experience process of movements as movements. Or when meditators realize hot, the meditators only perceive hot as hot. Then meditators would realize that the consciousness only has the function or to cognize the material phenomena. Then as meditators continue the practice with mindfulness and deep concentration, meditators could realize the relationship between the noting mind and the arising of the phenomenon. In other words, meditators could realize one of the process is the cause, or the other process is the effect. So, do you know which process is the cause? The object is the cause, or the noting mind is the cause?
Object is the cause.
So
noting mind is the effect.
So the object is the cause, or the noting mind is the effect. So only meditators who follow the principles of the Satipatthana meditation, then they could realize the cause and effect truly. So the principle or the guideline of Satipatthana meditation is to be mindful of whatever object or phenomenon that's arising at that present moment. Be mindful as it really occurs. Then when mindfulness is sharp and clear, meditators could realize every process of movements is preceded by intending mind, and sometimes there's an intending mind or desire arising to do an activity. So when meditators could discern the mentality and materiality, in other words, when meditators could realize the specific characteristics of the phenomena clearly, at the same time there's only a process of the noting mind. The commentaries say that at that time meditators overcoming the wrong view or sakkayaditthi or attaditthi. So at that moment, meditators could only realize there's an object, for example, the movements and the process of the noting mind. Then, how do you know that there's this noting mind? how do you perceive that there's a process of noting mind?
Aware, the noting mind aware of the object.
Then how do you know the noting mind? How do you perceive this noting mind? The noting mind perceive or aware there's an object. Then how do you perceive the noting mind?
Attentively, continuously.
How do you know there's the noting mind?
Yes, she said. They said yes. They know that there is noting mind.
So at the times, how many noting minds? You say there's another noting mind. Then how many noting minds are there?
So many.
So many. The text say at each moment there's only one mental state. One mental state, for example, in this case is the noting mind or the awareness. So
yes, this is what they say.
Okay.
But they mean that in every time they note, it's different noting mind.
So sometimes meditators may think I who see the noting mind, I see my awareness. So the idea I here is a wrong view of a self. So to realize, to see the noting mind clearly, meditators need to develop sharper mindfulness and stronger concentration. So when the mindfulness is sharp and concentration deep, meditators could realize that there's when there's a noting mind arising, mindful and note the object, then immediately there's another awareness arising. Be aware of that noting mind. So only the noting mind disappear, then the following awareness arises very instantly. Then what comes to know the following consciousness? What comes to know or perceive the following consciousness? Or for example, the noting mind is let's say we put it in another way. The noting mind is the first consciousness arising. Then when the first consciousness disappears, second consciousness arising instantly, perceiving the first one. Then what comes to perceive the second one?
Another consciousness.
So another consciousness. So it is difficult to realize the noting mind or the consciousness that is arising and passing away. So if meditators could only realize the arising and passing away of the physical phenomena, then meditators may not be able, may not be able to remove the idea of self or deity. So only meditators could realize the mental states such as thinking, wandering mind, or sleepiness, and other mental states, as well as the noting mind clearly. Then gradually they could overcome the idea of self. So in other words, when meditators could realize the specific characteristics of the phenomena and the process of noting mind clearly, he sees that or realizes that there is no being or no self, no I. These are false view of self does not arise at that moment of at that moment. So this false view is removed by the experience of that insight knowledge. So if the consciousness or the mind is without false view, then conceit also does not arise. So usually, if one has the idea of self, I, you, then it can give rise to this feeling of conceit or mana. Then, if the mind is without this conceit, then the attachments also cannot arise. So to remove these defilements, there's no different methods. There's only one method or one way. So to see clearly, meditators have to realize that all these phenomena are not permanent. So when meditators could realize the specific characteristics of the mental and physical phenomena clearly, then gradually they also will be realizing the common characteristics of the mental and physical phenomena. So in other words, when meditators realizing the three common characteristics of the phenomena, at the same time they are also realizing the specific characteristics. So in other words, it does not mean that when meditators are realizing the three common characteristics, they are no longer realizing the specific characteristics. So when meditators begin to realize, for example, the nature of the impermanent, at the beginning they could see clearly the beginning of the process until the ending of the process of the movements. Meditators realize that the beginning and the ending of every object or phenomenon clearly. But that realization is not penetrative enough.
Not
penetrative. Not penetrative enough. Only when meditators could realize movement to movement, every phenomenon or object is impermanent, then we can say that he see impermanence or anicca. So that's why sometimes we instruct meditators put effort, be mindful and note from one movement to next movement. So at the beginning, meditators may not be able to sustain the mindfulness from one movement to next movement for a period of time. But when they keep on practicing, they will be able to sustain the mindfulness from one movement to next movement for longer and longer period of time. So only meditators could develop moment to moment mindfulness. Gradually, they can realize the nature of impermanence clearly. So in other words, when meditators put forth effort to develop mindfulness from one moment to next moment, at the same time, meditators also developing concentration from one moment to next moment. So that moment-to-moment concentration is known as momentary concentration or kanika samadhi. So if meditators could attain momentary concentration, meditators realize that every object, every phenomenon does not last more than a moment. So every object or phenomenon is arising and passing away very instantly. Then there will be another object arising. Then the arising of the noting mind or the awareness, which is depending on the arising of the object, is also not permanent. So the noting mind or awareness is also arising and passing away, almost we can say at the same time with the objects. So only when meditators could see both processes, the true nature of both processes clearly, then they could gain higher stage of experiences. So when one object had disappeared, will that object arise later on? Can arise again. If one object disappears, then later on you think that object can arise again, then you have not yet seen impermanent.
It's a new.
It's a new. New in terms of changing the form. Or just like you say a person who had passed away, then take birth again in another form.
A new different. A new different.
A new different. So the Visuddhimagga define that after having come to be, it means after have been arising, then disappear and no longer in existence. You cannot say after disappear, that object is going to exist somewhere else or store in somewhere else. Similarly, before the objects or the phenomenon arising, is that object already existed somewhere else?
No. Huh? Just arises and passes away in
yes. So before this object arising, is this object already existed somewhere? Then when there's an opportunity, this object will arise, or when there's a condition, this object will arise.
No, never.
So we can say it's also non-existence before the arising. So just like the lightning, before you see the lightning, was that lightning already existed somewhere else? So when you see the lightning, very instantly disappear, then that lightning does not exist anymore. So this is the nature of impermanent. So meditators could realize this the nature of impermanent only when they could attain momentary concentration and gaining more and more experiences in the mindfulness meditation. So at any time, could you find a permanent self or a permanent being or in those phenomena? So meditators could not perceive any self or entity or being that is everlasting. So in the verse, meditators at that moment, the view of self, deity, is removed by their experiences. Sometimes the text explain the no self or not self, anatta, in terms of impermanent. So they are not self, in the sense that you could not control over them. You cannot have control of them. You do not have power or no power. The text say in the sense of no power or being accessible over them. They are impermanent, or in the sense that after passing away, they are no longer in existence. So they are dukkha, in the sense of oppressions, by the instant arising and passing away. So in that way, meditators remove the false view of self. In that way, the meditators remove the false view of self. So when meditators could see that all these phenomena arising constantly and instantly, passing away, they are dukkha, because of the constant and instant arising and passing away. So they would experience the oppressions of the rise caused by the constant and instant arising and passing away. So they realize that because it's a arising and passing away, all the arising and passing away from one moment to next moment, they could not. They see that there's no self. They could not have control over them. So the Visuddhimagga say, then in this way, there's a abolition of conceit or mana. Then there's the ending of attachments. When one could see that the nature of dukkha, which is constantly oppressed by the instant arising and passing away of phenomena. So they are impermanent, or in the sense of non-existence, or after having come to be, or after having arising. So it is not self or no self, or it's because one could not exercise control over them. So in other words, when meditators could experience the common characteristics of the mental and physical phenomena clearly and truly, at the time there's removal of this false view or conceit and attachments. So does the vipassana meditators or mindfulness meditators experience the three common characteristics separately, or how do they experience the three common characteristics?
Arises and passes away, arises and passes away continuously.
The question is, there are three common characteristics: anicca, dukkha, anatta. Does vipassana meditators realize anicca first, then they realize the dukkha later, then only realize anatta later on? Also, does a meditator realize these three common characteristics separately individually.
One lady says she is aware of the tukkang first and then anicca. That one says that she is aware of the anicca first and then dukkha.
Then how about anatta?
They come at the same time, very fast.
They come at the same time. Yes, the text says when one sees one of the common characteristics, one also sees the other two or realizes the other two. But it's quite common to hear from meditators. For example, during interview, they may say that they could see impermanent and dukkha, but they cannot see anatta. You have not seen anatta, that means you also have not seen anicca and dukkha. So the teaching of anatta is very profound, very deep. So if you wish to realize the teachings of the Buddha, you have to realize anatta through your vipassana meditation, through your personal experience. So when meditators are going through these experiences, they also can see conditionality, cause and effect clearly. Or in other words, the teachings of dependent origination or paticca samuppada. So this teaching of paticca samuppada is another profound teaching of the Buddha. So there's a saying that when one see conditionality of paticca samuppada, dependent origination, one also see the Dharma. So when one see the Dharma, one also see the Buddha. So when one could realize the teaching of paticca samuppada through their personal experience, or it can also help them to change their outlook of their life. So one may begin to see things in terms of condition, cause and effect, dependent originations. So if you see truly these three, the true nature of mental and physical phenomena, it could help you to remove the defilements or overcoming the defilements gradually. So if you think that there's a self, realizing this insight knowledge from your experiences, then you have not yet truly realizing the mental and physical phenomena in their true nature. So similarly, if one is very conceited of his or her experiences, then one may not have yet seen the phenomena truly or rightly. If one is very conceited about his experiences or her experiences, then in other words, one may not have yet seen the phenomena truly, rightly. So if one has attachments or always feels satisfied with the experiences, then one may not might not have not yet realized the knowledge of vipassana truly. So you could know from your personal experience whether you have seen the mental and physical phenomena in their true nature, whether you have seen them truly, rightly. So you have seen the Dharma. So Dharma, when we say Dharma during the practice of mindfulness meditation, Dharma here means the Nama Rupa. If you have seen the Dharma truly, rightly or correctly, then relatively the defilements would become less and less or weaker and weaker. But the most important is you put forth effort to develop mindfulness from one movement to next movement. You would gain the experiences when you have done your duty or responsibility to develop the mindfulness, to strengthen the mindfulness, so that the mindfulness is attentive or energetic and precise at each moment. So meditators need to be truthful always. In other words, truly put forth effort to develop mindfulness from one moment to next moment, is possible for a longer period of time, or even for the whole day. So may all meditators put forth effort to develop mindfulness, concentration, and insight knowledge, so that you could realize the profound teachings of Buddha, the anatta, or dependent origination, and the Four Noble Truths through your personal experiences, and eventually attain enlightenment.
สาธุ สาธุ สาธุ